win. Like I say, to AJ he'd never be able to forgive himself for letting that opportunity of the World Heavyweight Championship pass him by. Now, for what? To wait for Fury Usyk? What if someone got an injury? And then what if Fury lost and then he just fights him for no belt? We can do that another time. He wants the World Championship. And that's right there on a plate for him. Now he's got to win, but it's there. You can touch it, you can smell it, you can feel it. The others are just fantasy. Rebuild this, build the brand this, wait for someone in a year. Fuck that.
We know where AJ is, and once we agree to terms, then it'll all fall into place.
Boxing promoters Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn are reportedly making the Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois rematch for 2025. Anthony Joshua has lost to Daniel Dubois fair and square, but refuses to take on anyone other than Daniel in his next fight. On the other hand, a second installment of the event is being planned for February, potentially featuring the highly anticipated rematch. Turki Alalshik spoke after the Artur Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol press conference and shared, "In February, we will see Queensberry against Matchroom again, 5 versus 5. We aim to finalize everything this week with a big surprise in store. Then we'll wait for the result of the December 21st fight between Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury." Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren recently shared that the Mega 5 versus 5 event is definitely in the talks, and some news will be revealed sooner rather than later.
Are you two going to speak this week about AJ Dubois? Is that on the plan?
We've already been speaking. We've been speaking since the fight.
Is that going to be part of this 5v5, AJ Dubois? Is that what the ideal is? The ideal situation?
All will be revealed as far as the fight's concerned.
Eddie Hearn commented on the rematch clause in place and said that Anthony is expected to activate that clause, and a rematch with Dubois could be part of a Queensberry versus Matchroom card. In June, Queensberry pitted 5 of its fighters against 5 of Matchroom's, with the latter promotion suffering a 5-0 defeat. A second edition of the event has been mooted since.
What is so good about this is that we are talking, we're on this journey together. You know, as Eddie, Matchroom, George, myself, Queensberry, we're all on this journey together, and we're on the journey, which is great for everybody involved. And you know why it's great? Because the fighters are getting extremely well paid. The fans are getting the most important thing of the great fights, superb fights. I mean, this year's been an unbelievable time for boxing.
Furthermore, Turki Alalshik said that he wants the best fighters fighting the best in the division. His Excellency added, "Joshua, Dubois, Tyson, Usyk, everyone on the line. This is what we want. We want the big fights and to see who's really the best fighters in each division." Eddie Hearn remains adamant that the rematch of AJ with Dubois is winnable. Eddie commented on Joshua's skills, "We believe we should have beaten Dubois. We can beat him. We ain't got time for momentum." Furthermore, Warren commented that the Saudis' involvement in boxing has helped the fighters as well as the fans, and now the promoters are working together more frequently.
That will have to determine, but that'll get sorted out. You know, once we know where AJ is, and once we agree to terms, then it'll all fall into place. So and so with me, that's an open door. You're pushing the door open.
Furthermore, Eddie Hearn has hinted that the rematch would most likely take place in Saudi Arabia, shifting the venue away from London for this highly anticipated fight. Eddie further commented, "I think it would be part of Riyadh season in Riyadh. Riyadh season runs from October to the end of February or early March, so anything within that period, the rematch would take place in Riyadh. So yeah, it would be part of Riyadh season if it happens." However, Hearn previously stressed that a rematch is not a certainty at this stage when he stated, "The big decision now is, do we take the rematch? There's a keenness from His Excellency Turki Alalshik to make that rematch in February. It's part of our options within the contract. I think AJ will always lean toward the rematch. You saw him rematch Andy Ruiz straight away, and you saw him rematch Alexander Usyk straight away." On the opposite end, after defeating Joshua in a thrilling bout, Daniel Dubois hints at having learned valuable lessons from their first encounter. He would bring more control, speed, and self-belief to the ring. While he respects Joshua as a formidable opponent who will come prepared to win, Dubois feels it's now his time to reign as the new king of heavyweight boxing.
Guy, well, what could you do better? But what did you learn from that fight? Where do you see improvement if this fight comes again?
Without giving too much away, I think I'll be more up for it. I was up for it, but just more believing in myself, more control, more speed, more everything. And AJ as well, he'll bring it as well. He'll bring it. He'll come to win like he did last time. But I just feel like it's my time, and as a world champion, and just have the IBF belt and all of that is just, it's just icing on the cake. So I need to keep this run going.
Furthermore, the IBF has ensured fans witness two hard-hitting heavyweights as they fight it out to punch a golden ticket to face Daniel Dubois next. However, it might rob fans of another thrilling encounter, as it could potentially derail Anthony Joshua's plans. Notably, the IBF has ordered a title eliminator between Martin Bacol and Agit Kabayel to determine who will challenge Dynamite next for his IBF strap. Their last respective wins had ensured the two moved up in the IBF hierarchy and looked to challenge for the title next. On the other hand, Eddie Hearn suggested that a rematch with Dubois right away is possible, but he has major concerns for AJ's health and mindset. I mean, nothing confirmed, but that would obviously make sense with the main event. I think that we've had our time now, almost. It's coming up to a month, so the main things for AJ were obviously to reflect, to physically get checked over, to look at the date of February, which is the proposed show, and seeing if he'd be ready physically for that date. But more importantly, if that was the right fight to take, and I think time helps make that decision a little bit. Adding to this fiery debate, professional boxer Derek Chisora asserted that the rematch is the best move for Joshua, expressing confidence that he will win. He stressed that Joshua needs to change his approach, reviewing his past performance to identify mistakes and make the necessary fixes. Chisora concluded that it's a straightforward path for Joshua. He stated, "The best thing is the rematch. I believe Joshua wins in the rematch. He has to change his ways. He wins in the rematch. He'll go back and look at it and say, this is what I did wrong. This is what I'm going to fix, and he'll fix it. That is it. It's just one of those things." Meanwhile, Eddie Hearn discussed that Anthony Joshua doesn't need any more tune-ups before he takes on Daniel Dubois in a rematch. Hearn asserted that AJ already did that when he lost to Usyk, and he doesn't want the opportunity of a lifetime to slip by.
And we got 3 years left or 5 years left. I did it. We did that after Usyk. We took 4 fights after Usyk. Jermaine Franklin, Robert Helenius, Otto Wilde, Francis Ngannou. We don't need the build-up fights. Do you know what I mean? Like I say, to AJ he'd never be able to forgive himself for letting that opportunity of the World Heavyweight Championship pass him by. Now, for what? To wait for Fury Usyk? What if someone got an injury?
Furthermore, boxing analyst Gareth A. Davies doesn't believe a rematch will happen between Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois in light of the outcome of their clash last month. He feels that there's too much risk for Joshua being maimed and mauled by IBF heavyweight champion Dubois to face him a second time. Gareth thinks that Joshua will instead sit and wait on the outcome of the Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk rematch on December 21st. If Fury loses, as most believe he will, Joshua will fight him next. There's too much money available for AJ and Fury to grab for them not to fight. Gareth added, "My gut feeling is it won't happen. In the end, my feeling is they'll say, let's just wait and see what happens with Fury and Usyk. If Fury loses Usyk the second time, maybe we put Joshua in with Fury now. If Fury wins, I think Fury and Usyk will probably have a trilogy. That's the sense that I'm getting from people. My instinct is he won't end up immediately rematching Daniel Dubois, but if he does, it'll probably be in February." After seeing Joshua get obliterated by Dubois, Davies commented on the chin of Joshua when he said, "His punch resistance is gone? I don't know about that. I think Daniel Dubois punches really hard. He was caught flush early, and he spent 9 minutes trying to recover and keep a foothold in the fight, which he did brilliantly to do. Then he threw his whole lot in the first minute of the 5th round, and then he got caught. In the meantime, he still did catch Daniel and caused some tremors." Furthermore, Frank Warren shared that the Joshua versus Dubois rematch is an open door, and it can be determined if it would happen in Riyadh next. He shared that they need to know where AJ is right now, because Daniel seems ready to fight him anytime.
From my perspective, I'm like the old geezer out of everybody here, but from my perspective, it's never been so exciting. And what is so, I don't look back, what things you didn't do, what didn't happen in the past and that. But I actually do regret that we didn't do this years ago, because we're like-minded, we want to make things happen, we've got passion for the sport, we're heavily involved and support our respective fighters, we believe in them, we invest in it, we invest in the sport ourselves, our money, our time, bringing people through, and it's been brilliant. I mean, what has been a downside? A couple of people coming along to that, there's a couple of seats weren't sold up the top there, this was played down. You pay your tickets to come and watch a fight. And have you seen good fights, truthfully?
Moreover, Eddie Hearn said that Frank Warren's 5 fighters against his own 5 fighters was a huge success, and they would like to make it happen with Turki Al-Sheikh's involvement. Hearn added, "We've been in conversations about that this week with His Excellency Al-Sheikh. We know that the 5 versus 5 concept was commercially incredibly successful, and obviously, I want to run it back for various reasons. So I think that's inevitable for early next year in London or Riyadh. But there have been talks to look at the potential for that early next year in Riyadh. and both myself and Frank would love to build an even bigger card with His Excellency for that concept. Further adding on the possibility of a rematch, Hearn commented on the mindset of AJ going into the fight once again. Eddie shared, "Anthony will make the decision 100% himself, but with the input of me, 258, Ben Davison, and all of his team. But he will be the one that makes the ultimate decision." Furthermore, pro boxer Terrence Crawford weighed in on AJ's performance, noting that Joshua's overconfidence after landing a good shot in the 5th round led to his downfall. Crawford said, "It was a great fight. I think Joshua got overconfident. He hurt him with a shot and went for the kill, but forgot about his defense and the fundamentals. This lapse in judgment left AJ vulnerable, ultimately sealing his fate in the ring." Crawford added that Dubois was the better man on the fight night. He continued, "I always stated that the better man was going to win today and Dubois was the better man. He came to fight. You could see it in his eyes that he was not leaving the ring without that victory." In addition, Daniel Dubois mentioned that sometimes it doesn't even feel real that he is inside the ring and it feels more like an intense movie. Daniel was alluding to the fact that he constantly looks at his father and trainer when he is in the ring, hoping to get some advice to finish his opponents just like he did with Anthony Joshua.
You know, it's just all, sometimes it doesn't even feel real when I'm in the ring. It's like a movie and it's just playing out and then just got to go with it. And, you know, Dad said, go and finish the job. I got, okay then.
Dubois himself has now spoken and discussed the possibility of a second fight. Asked if he wants to run it back with Joshua, Dubois said, "Yeah, if that happens down the line, then yes. If that happens next, then yeah. I want to go for it. I want to do even better next time. I know where I need to improve as well. So as a champion and a fighter, I want to prove people wrong every time, and that's what we have been doing. I think I would. I can do a lot better than that. It was a great showing, but next time I believe I'll be more clinical, more sharp, everything." Additionally, Frank Warren asserted that he regrets not teaming up with Matchroom and Eddie Hearn years ago since they are like-minded and do good for the sport. This is the main reason that now people are witnessing the best fights in so many years.
Speaking to Eddie Hearn earlier, he believes that Anthony Joshua is unbeatable at the moment.
Well, it depends who the opposition is, doesn't it? It's like everything, you know. And he beat Wallin and he's beaten Nagano. But certainly done Nagano in style. There's no doubt about it. However, you know, the best heavyweight around, we will find out that's going to be on the 18th of May when Tyson fights the guy that beat him twice.
Meanwhile, Frank Warren responded to Eddie Hearn's comments on AJ being unstoppable in the heavyweight division. UFC star Conor McGregor has made a public plea for a rematch between Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois, following Joshua's shocking knockout loss to his fellow Briton. In a recent Kick live stream, McGregor noted that Joshua had some strong sequences but was ultimately caught by a decisive shot. The UFC fighter even offered some advice to Joshua, suggesting that he focus on standing his ground and leveraging his strong jab in a potential rematch. McGregor's appeal was directed to Turki Al-Sheikh, urging him to arrange a second fight between the two heavyweights. McGregor said, "Sometimes you get fed up. You might get a little bit tired at some." Joshua was almost at that stage. Make no mistake, the only thing that should happen next is Joshua and Dubois as a rematch, yeah, and stand the ground. However, the real question is whether Joshua's body and mind are up to the challenge. His loss to Dubois wasn't just about strategy, it was about durability. Joshua didn't necessarily box poorly. He simply couldn't withstand the power that Dubois brought to the ring. If a rematch happens, Joshua will need to solve that problem, or history may repeat itself. As the heavyweight division waits with bated breath, all eyes are on Joshua. Will he choose redemption or safety? We would love to hear your thoughts. Let us know in the comment section below and subscribe for more content like this.